Respected Vice Chancellors, ladies and gentlemen, I was extremely surprised to be called here to present on the topic of entrepreneurship and innovation in universities creating wealth. Initially, I was very reticent. I didn't want to. I said, I've never talked to such an august audience of vice chancellors. At college, I met only my director. I've never been above him till date. So I never thought I can contribute to how a university can be, or curriculum can be built to do this. And I'm a bit more nervous after Ram Prakash talk on artificial intelligence. We are just trying to absorb that. Yesterday only we were talking in office that we need to start using it properly and put some youngsters, because we've come out doing what we've been doing all along. We want to get some youngsters to start educating us in artificial intelligence, start using it. So it's putting a small team together. It's an outstanding lecture from Ram Prasad, which is very, very nice. And I'm going to talk to my guys about inviting you once to office and talk to us. My journey is, then I thought maybe why are they inviting me here? Probably to relate to my journey in data patterns, and some tips from that would probably help us build a curriculum in the universities. I don't know if that's feasible, possible. I have not put a curriculum in picture and how this can create wealth in universities, but I do know that India is a happening place today. Enormous potential exists, enormous market opportunities. We are growing. It's the place to be today in the world. And you're building generations of people. And obviously, this is a very, very important area where you're training manpower to create industry wealth and competencies across India. So, but what I went through in the journey, maybe I'll talk about my journey in data patterns for the next 30, 40 minutes till a lady comes and hits the gong. And let's see if we can get some parallels and how we can, the lessons which I've learned and what not to do more than what to do. I have, ever since, college, I wanted to actually get into start a business. That desire was always with me. And, but however, we don't come from a business background. So we are from a middle class family. And the middle class value systems. How do you build a business? You didn't have knowledge or corporate knowledge, but you instead wanted to build a business. My schooling was okay. I was a decent student. I was a gold medalist in school. I played for table tennis for the state, captain of the university. So all this gives you a lot of self-confidence that probably you do something, you can do it well. As long as you're honest, hardworking, and committed, I'm sure you'll do reasonably well in life. So this is the only thought, but you're completely unprepared for the actions to follow when you started data patterns. The events unfolded was completely scary at first, and you have to manage the scare and move on. When I was working in a computer company, this is way back in 1984, we got an idea that early days where computers were not manufactured in India. We were talking about, like our friend was saying, Apple. It is even before IBM PC time. Probably Ram Prasad started studying that time. Okay, so we were starting Apple IIc times, and IBM PC was not there. But by then, US has started using the Apple and the personal computing in non-computing application for instrument automation. I said, why don't we do that in India? And we're actually importing kits from Taiwan to build our own computers those days. So I then caught my guy, a colleague of mine, who was very good in electronics. I said, why don't we join together? Let us build instrument automation systems from India. Things we have behind US, let's start building systems in India. That's when the journey started. And that is when I started making mistakes, because company building, forming company, getting into business is a completely different. You're not trained to do this in college. Like you said, understanding equations. Engineers are more equation oriented. It's easy to solve a problem. And this is something which is unsolvable. I got into it and paid the price the last so many years to do that. My journey in business has been dotted only with mistakes. And maybe when we go through the mistakes, you will probably understand, maybe this, you can probably in the curriculum, you can add the do's and don'ts of how to start a business and prepare them in the curriculum, what else you need to do. The first mistake I did is we started an electronics company, and I'm a chemical engineer. Okay, I had no business to start electronics. A colleague was an electronics guy. I told him, okay, let's start together. Second, we started this business, any small industry it's oriented towards what the promoter comes in as competency model. This is how a small industry develops. Small industry doesn't develop with you individual capabilities mixing together and make a partnership. And second, small industries also, partnership don't work when you don't carry your weight along. It automatically folds. Third, we wanted to start development without having deep pockets. I started the company with 11,000 rupees post PF. And I didn't have money. We didn't have money from my parents. We could not borrow. We had to borrow from banks with collateral. These are not the days where you have venture capital fund and you have funding available. We didn't have funding available. So you had to go to banks, go to money lenders at enormous costs and start building companies. So this is how we started. Fundamental 3 mistakes. Not knowing what to do, went with the partnership, built a product, went into dollar. We struggled a lot to try to put this product together. And as predictably so, now I know it's predictable because I know I've gone through this. The product which was developed didn't work. That was fantastic. This guy delivered. But then he decided to quit. And I already borrowed money. And even if I had to close the company, my salary will not even repay the interest back. So then I had a lot of friends. They said, look, if I didn't do something, other businesses. At those times, leather exports are doing very well. Why didn't you get into leather exports? A lot of people have a lot of ideas. And I told myself, this is stupid. I started something which I don't know. I'm struggling with this for 2.5, 3 years now. 2 years. Now somebody's saying, go into some other business and I'll do better there. What are the chances? You do one thing, you failed. You can't do better in the second thing. So I said, no, this is not acceptable. You need to pursue it. It doesn't matter how hard you have to pursue, but if you stay on course, make that mistake right. And that is what you have to do. So I said, okay, whatever happens. And that is the time I started the company when I was 27 years old. I was already married. My wife was already studying in college. So it's an outstanding environment. They're taking risk with no money. And my father will always point out, to go to his house, he'll say, Dandaswar Ukandrakange. Your normal parents will try to say, why don't you, so that I get insulted and start working again. But he was completely not interested in what I was doing. This is the environment we came up with. So then I hired engineers. I got a consultant to understand and redo the product properly, solve the problem, went and sold a few pieces, got the money back, paid the loans, and in the process decided, what do you do? I know we've done a lot of mistakes in the design. And with the engineers, we started understanding electronics. And we redesigned the entire system. Let's make a world-class product, compete with the MNCs. So that's the journey started. That is the inflection point 1. We said, okay, let us build a world-class. We built world-class products, sold it to all the big companies in India, branded for them, and then we started building a sustainable business model. This is how the story started. All dotted with stupidity, wrong decisions, and that is the foundation of my company, Data Patterns. Thereon, we said, okay, how do we scale the business? This is more a story than what this AI he's been talking to about. I need to relate to a story of mine, so I hope I make some sense to you guys. So we started this, and I said, okay, let us get into automatic testing using computers and specialized, customized hardware. That is what we started doing. Let's make an international product with doing this. So the first product you see in the left-hand side is what we designed. This is in 1992, 93. We built a product, which is an automatic test equipment platform, very similar to Hewlett-Packard system in US, where every hardware is designed by us. At that point in time, we wrote our own language. He was talking about language models. We talk a very simple language, real-time multitasking, a basic interpreter, very similar to HP Basic. We did this in 1990, 91. But then we could not sell it. This is another stupidity. I built a product which I could not sell. Because India was not actually designing anything to test. India was a manufacturing infrastructure. Cars are manufactured in technology transfer. I go to Bosch in Bangalore. He says, have you sold it in Germany? Then I'll use it to test it here. Nothing was done here. So I had to go to where people are doing product development to test. And we find where the Hewlett Packards of the world are actually selling the products. So I went to ISRO, Department of Space, and then built their test systems for them, the inertial navigation system. We replaced all the international systems, built the systems here. In the last 20-odd years, 25, 26 years, we're a single vendor custom supplier for all the test stations. We installed more than 300, 400 systems to them on testing all whatever is flying in the launch vehicle. In 2002, we delivered the launch countdown facility, fully designed by us, as operational the last 20-odd years, even today. So this is how we started, and then built products for this. Based on this, we also got, sometimes we were a bit lucky, we started moving from DRDO from Department of Space. We said if you go to Department of Defense, Ministry of Defense, DRDO, they start building products for aircrafts and systems. Once you build a product, it gives you an annuity revenue over the course of the lifetime of 10 years, 15 years, we do products. So we started designing products for DRDO, the first products for the cockpit displays, for the light combat aircraft and the mission systems. But it's easier said than done. We had a lot of issues in certification qualifications. We took 2 years to do this. But subsequent to doing this, we thought, yeah, I can run all the way to the bank every day because I'll keep getting money. That is not to be. Because what was told to you that it start flying in 2 years did not happen. Certification, their own aircrafts were not ready. To give you an example, I got an order for this cockpit display. 2022, I got 250 pieces. The original delivery was 2005. It's taken us 20 years to start productionizing systems. Then you understood, my God, what have I got into? Okay, so completely unpredictable business. And everything they said we do in DRDO, they finish the products, certifications happen, and over a period of time, repeat order happens from Bharat Electronics or HAL, whoever they transfer technologies to. The business model was completely unpredictable. So how do we go ahead doing this year? So we said, now that we got into it, again, make it work. So we started designing across the platform of electronics. We built almost everything in electronics, from high voltage to RF, digital, as he says, RF up to 40 gigahertz, high voltage up to 40 kV, signal processing, ASIC, design, software, control systems, movement mechanism, video, you name it. We build systems in India, in-house, to do this. So this is one thing we started doing. And this is some of the things we just started doing. And we also got lucky in one of the programs for BrahMos. We competed with Bharat Electronics and L&Ts and Tata and won the contract for the launcher for the BrahMos missile. We won this, we delivered it in 1 year, and then we did the air version for Sukhoi 30. This is all was done. Just to give you some pictures to what my statements are, that this journey has started, and we delivered and we continue to do. Some of the things were lucky like this, but most of the things we were actually building products across the mobile. When we design products like this, especially coming from a background where we don't have money, and we're investing and building products with our own money, what we earn that year, we spend that year in building products. It's completely invested by us. We said, let us build components, reusable building blocks. So even the software models, libraries, whatever we did was all as building blocks, and across the CL building blocks, which can be used for various platforms, various environments, applications across DRDO. So the cost of development is recovered over a few years. And also we can deliver products faster, more reliable, because you're using tested piece of hardware and software which is using it. This is what we did. This was all being imported by DRDO. We started competing with foreigners, building the products here, and that is how our journey with DRDO started. Then we had to put in an infrastructure to produce because defense quality production was not prevalent at that time. And especially in small volume, high mix products. There was very little production. So we put an infrastructure, world-class production, which is in Chennai, in Siriseri. We have a complete plant with all infrastructure for design, manufacture, pick and place, the environment soldering, environment test systems, EMMC chambers, everything we have in-house to do this. And then once we're doing it, we found that we are also losing a lot of our people. People trained by us, we're losing out to MNCs. This is typically happening, and this is a time when a lot of movement was taking place. So then we design a product. After 5 years that is required, we find that the product design is not actually working 5 years later, the designer has already left. This is a problem. And then we said, this is not on to be. So product's supposed to work for 20 years. We started writing documentation, process, very deep process. But probably one of the best processes we have in India, whatever in design and manufacturing and test and evaluation, defect investigation. We have very, very strong processes, and that is the backbone of the system. We started building deep processes. Then we started hiring, put up a HR team in place, a good team who can recruit, train, manage, appraisal performance. So we know we're growing and we need to get an organization to build on the growth. So this is another thing which we started building. I'm just taking you stages of wherever we went. And as we went, with DRDO, we were only doing parts of a project. What DRDO does is they make a full system design and then split it into 100 parts, 50 parts. It's a LCM model. And then tender out this to various organizations on the lowest code basis. So when they then put it together, write the software, integrate, and go for test. By this way, what happens is DRDO retains the system knowledge, which is not leaked. Nobody knows. I know a piece of an elephant or of a ear of an elephant. I can't look at the elephant. So nobody can build systems. This retained the secrecy with DRDO wanted. But also have a relatively bad side effect that nobody in India could build systems. And unfortunately, defense is a government business. The only guys developing products at DRDO, and they ensured that all of us were doing pieces. So when the big products are bought, we are already importing big systems. This remains true today also. So this is what happened. So we decided if you have to be relevant and we have to grow, we need to actually don't see the problem. If you don't see the gap, you will not close the gap. The product will never come out properly. So I initiate to say that the problems are openly discussed. Everybody in the office discusses open problems. Sometimes a customer comes, this guy did some test, he showed a test result. I'm talking 20 years back. That customer said, no, this is not possible. How did you do this? I asked this guy, I said, sir, we didn't test, but he will shout. So I said, this is done. I called the guy, I called the customer, and I told him, sir, this is not tested. It may not work. That guy was chagrined. Sir, how do you tell in front of him? Yeah, you tell him. It's important. He also knows. Next time, you'll never do this. See, it's important. We make a mistake. Tell them. Then there's no secrecy. It's open now. And face the consequences. Because finally, the product has to come out. There was one occurrence when we were doing an air defense missile. We do the onboard computer for an air defense missile. We're producing it. We delivered it. It was working. Their mission was successful. But after few years, they got some 5 more pieces they wanted to buy. We by then shifted our factory to one of the new locations. 1 year later, after delivery, suddenly we found that there's a mix of electronic components in the inventory. There was a mill-grade component supposed to use for that mission, for the onboard computer. We had industrial-grade component, something else. The inventories got mixed. They came and told me the inventory got mixed. We don't know how it happened. Then he said, do you know documentary records of what we delivered to the missile? Sir, we are not aware what went. So I said, inform the customer. That guy we wrote to him, didn't write, we wrote to him there is a mistake possibility exists. We went bubonic. He said, look, you put your monkey on my shoulder now. I have to take a decision. I said, sir, missile should not fail. I am only a part of a missile. I made a mistake. You punish me. But the missile function should not fail. If your decision on a system level to take a decision what to do, you take a decision. He was absolutely furious with me, furious. If you not told me, it is already past test, it is already integrated, you not told me, I would have been keeping quiet. No, you have to take a decision. Then we brought back the units. Luckily, only one unit, there was a mistake. It's corrected, and the missile went properly. But this gives us a process within the organization. If you're open, and tell everybody you're open. And if you lie, I'm going to expose your lie down the line. The top management tells everybody, I'll tell you, it will build character down the line. Everybody talks openly. To the extent that you're surprised, I cannot probably repeat the names. Very senior officer, I don't want to tell you who it is. I'm coming back, just getting in my car and driving back home at around 9:30 in the night, a few years back. So he said, hey, Rangarajan, this IFF we've done, friend of foe identifier. These guys want to do NATO IFF. I'm telling them that existing hardware will do the job. It's only software upgrade. Can I make that statement? I said, no, sir, you can't make that statement because there are some logic which has to be added, and that logic has to be put not in code, in software. It has to come in FPGA. It has to come in the ASIC. And so the hardware has to be redesigned because the timing functions will not be supported in your software. Your processor won't support it. You do it. Hey, I'm telling it's possible. Then I'm not saying, you ask me a question, I'm telling you. No, I've already told them. Suppose they call you, you don't tell that I lied, okay? You tell them that everything will work. And more importantly, tell your boys, Harish Chandrans in your office, that they will not say it is not going to work. Luckily, we were not exposed to it. Nobody asked us, and it was done. But this is a system we have around us. It's very important that, this openness, admit to failures, admit to gaps, see the gaps, resolve gaps, go next ahead. Because we thought it is if you get used to lying, it becomes a way of life. And you start living that lie. And you think you're done well. Whole lot of our country fellows think they're done very well, living on a lie. And I can name so many of them. But that's not the way you can build large organizations. That commitment and value systems are very necessary. And for the organization to grow, fundamentals have to be done. So this is then, of course, we have this slogan, made in India with pride, everywhere in our office for the last 20 odd years, wherever it is. Yes, we want to make in India. But I think, way back, now I think India is becoming strong. People are respecting India. When I used to go 20, 30 years back to Hong Kong, we would go to Taiwan. We didn't have diplomatic relations to Taiwan. I had to go to Hong Kong, Singapore to get a 3-day visa. I had to stay 3 days in Hong Kong or Taiwan to get a visa to Taipei. Because we are not allowed. We were always towing the line with Russia, with China. So we didn't recognize Taiwan. I'm talking 30 odd years back, 40, 35 years back. But the treatment given to Indians is very pathetic. The Indian, go away. That is what she will tell me when you go there. So we never had a lot of respect. I think this is now, of course, India is changing. The way we look, people are looking at Indians are different. They are a growing economy. But I always said that, if you do something with you, whatever you do with pride. When you do with pride, you will put your effort to it because they are seeing you in it. And you don't want to be insulted. So do with pride. Made in India with pride. This will slogan, everywhere you put a slogan. Whatever you do, made with pride. And also that goes down the hierarchy, a way of life. Be proud of where you're living. You don't want to be in dirt. Be clean around. So we have this slogan all around so that we can see what is it we should do. We will do this better. So this is, in short, I don't know whether I could communicate what we went through in the last 40 years of my life and whether it really can be duplicated in any which way into curriculums or building entrepreneurship and creating wealth. But let me say this in conclusion that there are some lessons learned. How you inculcate the lessons, I don't know. Last year, I believe, Sridhar Vembu addressed this audience. So a lot of them who have gone through and did things which is important can be listened to. Guest lectures can help to shape ideas and tell them where pitfalls are there. Of course, but then the drive has to be within you. Take this next level. We should not stop. It has to go ahead. The only thing I can say is India today is going through a fantastic phase. This is the place to be in now. Enormous opportunity, enormous everything, from education to wherever. The opportunity, like the previous person was saying, that it will be 10 times education, will be 5 times education goes. So there's a lot of money for you, he was saying. So there is money everywhere, prosperity everywhere, for the right thing to do, what to do. And we need to do this more, but we need to build a society which is more on meritocracy. We are not doing that. This is very sad. We need to change policies to build meritocracy. It is important to address and understand meritocracy. And each one of you there, your vice chancellors, you need to bring that meritocracy. And government has to recognize, process it, put meritocracy. We are saying lowest court all the time. Any average is acceptable. Average is not acceptable. Outstanding is acceptable. Average is not acceptable. India, there is enormous potential in India. And I have a job cut out now, how to change Indian processes. I'm going to fight that system. Next war I'm fighting to see that the process has to change, to allow Indians to grow. And, the government has to allow us to grow. Every one of us to do this. Today we're working in government, especially in our sector, as silos. Nobody works with the other guy. Everything is secret. We are supposed to design and build in India, but I cannot radiate a radar to test it. How do I design a radar when you can't test it? And I have to show a demonstration. So I have to wait months to see whether I can take it and test it. Somebody has to help me test the radar. We have a lot of problems, the way we have organized ourselves in India, and we need to break down these barriers. But we have to do this. They are not going to do it themselves. Somebody has to talk for it. And so each one of us stand up and talk for the right things. So we build India great. We are great. We have phenomenal capability. I have completely convinced that we have enormous capability, enormous competency. We are hardworking. We will take risks if you show that there are possibilities that it will give us support meritocracy. Obviously, we'll take risks. And we are simple guys, hardworking, simple guys, all of Indians. And a lot of middle class, lower middle class has to be pulled up. So we are committed to India. I am committed to India, and all of you are committed to India. So we're going to build this bigger. And anything you can do with innovation, creating wealth, I'm looking forward to do this. Any support I can do from Data Patterns with my office of engineers, I'm willing. We are also doing one more thing as part of curriculum development in our office, because we don't get the exact kind of people. We recruit fresh engineers from college all the time. So we have a couple of universities also, or colleges, where we go and teach. We also give a syllabus. And we also take them in project work. 1 year, they do this. We recruit them 1 year ahead. And we don't have a school of ourselves, like Sridhar has. I don't have, Zoa has. But we build, we train people in our office, and we absorb people in the end of third year. And then they continue journey with us. We find that it's useful. In our own training of engineers, we initially put them into reviews, documentation, and testing. So the knowledge base gets more solidified and before we go to design. And they get to design at 2 years and 2.5 years, they do outstanding design. If they want to walk into some multinational, there is only an HR interview. There is no technical interview for the guys who come out of Data Patterns. So we take pride in that. We think that it's better that we train people, even if they leave, but train them, because we can't have untrained people doing product development in the office. That is disaster. So we cannot do that. So we do this at any cost. We are committed to doing what we're doing. Anything which can help. Thank you very much again for listening to me and giving me opportunity. Like Ram Prasad was saying, I've never talked to such an august audience, like per square feet he was talking. I can't measure that way. But thanks for the opportunity. And I wish that we can build a lot of things together. Thank you very much.